Okay, we'll call the City of Saratoga Springs meeting to order tonight, December 19th, 2017, at 6:06 p.m. Present tonight is Councilman Podeska, Councilman Willen, Councilman McComber, myself, Councilwoman Barch, and Councilman Porter. Councilwoman Barch, will you give us our prayer? Councilman Porter, will you lead us in our pledge?
Our Father, who art in heaven, we are grateful to be gathered together as leaders in thy city, that we might serve those in our under our stewardship. We are grateful for the residents and their input and the wonderful volunteerism and the spirit that they have of neighborliness. We ask that as we go through our agenda this day, that our minds will be clear and that we will be able to act quickly and in the best interest of our residents. And we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
The audience, please rise. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Okay, public input. Time has been set aside for the public to express ideas, concerns, and comments. Please be respectful in your comments. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please avoid repetitive comments. If you're here for the public hearing, please hold your comments until that item. Is anybody here for the general public hearing? Seeing none, I will close the public input. And we will move on to the public hearing for the University of Utah Medical Center, preliminary plat and final plat. Travis Perry. What? Okay, David's got it.
I'll click it for you.
Okay. Good evening. This should be quick, I hope. This is an application for a preliminary plat for the University of Utah Medical Center. And if you'll recall, earlier in the year, the City Council reviewed and approved the community plan and the village plan that included this parcel. It's actually outlined in the village plan. And basically all this plat does, it creates the first parcel and the roads that go to it. And the level of detail, the location map, community village is approved in April. So there's one parcel that's 18.33 acres. And the more detailed site plan review, talking about things like landscaping and layout and architecture and all the really important nitty-gritty things, will happen at site plan review. So this plat really just creates the parcel and creates the roads. And the Planning Commission reviewed this last Thursday and forwarded a positive recommendation to you. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Public hearing portion of the University of Utah Medical Center preliminary and final plat. Okay, seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Does the council have any questions or comments, other than really glad to see a medical center coming to Saratoga?
Yes.
Okay, then I will.
No.
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 Oh, I thought you were saying yes, you don't.
No, I'm saying yes, I have
Okay.
questions. So there are just a couple of questions on the village plan. And I've got to get down there. My computer's still acting a little slow. It's doing so well today, and now it's being temperamental again. One of the things that I'll start with, because I know this one off the top of my head, is the naming of Crimson Way actually can't be Crimson Way. According to the village plan, it's already called out as Exchange Way, or Exchange Drive, or Boulevard, or whatever it is. So that needs to be corrected. Imagine Road. It's either in the community plan or the village plan. It is called out, and I can show you where as soon as my.
It is, but that's actually another road.
No.
The exchange runs parallel.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. I was looking at the, if you look at the area map, they don't quite line up.
So then our exhibits are very wrong.
I was under the,
Because from everything that we could see from our packet, it's the same road.
Yeah, it does look like the same road, and I'm working with IHC right now on the parcel to the north, and there it's Exchange Place, so that will have to be rectified one way or another.
Okay, so then I will alter my comment a little bit. I thought it was an easy fix because it was already called out in the village plan. I'm not a fan of naming roads after brands because it creates problems for other companies wanting to come in. We've seen that happen up in Traverse Mountain where it was on Cabela's Way and the other businesses kind of freaked out. So I would much prefer to see more typical names, I'm going to say, just not branded names. So I'm not a fan of that. I would like to see that changed personally.
I'm sure they can address that.
They're welcome
question.
to address that.
And Imagine.
And then likewise, if I'm not mistaken, Imagine is actually also branding, but that's a little bit less obvious than Crimson Way. Sorry, I'm getting there, I promise. And I actually did only have one other comment on this. So the other comment was on the right-of-way. And again, if this is not exchanged like I thought it was, then that's not the same thing. So this is the problem with having an incorrect packet that makes me a little nervous. One of the things that we did for sure talk about in our April meeting where the village plan, I think it was the village plan was passed, maybe that was the community plan, but specifically, they were asked for a traffic study because we were concerned about the narrowness of the streets using a true local road on something that's a commercial area, especially if they're going to have parking and things like that on the roads. So that was my other question is, was a traffic study done like they were asked to do?
I'm going to defer to Gordon.
Okay. Gordon?
I'm not sure. Not sure.
Okay, if you'd like to come up as the applicant, that would be fantastic to answer those questions. Hi. Great.
Thank you. Travis Perry with Somas.
Hi.
4179 Riverboat Road, Salt Lake City, Utah. Just to address the two comments, so we've been discussing the road names. Those were just names that were suggested. No comments from the city staff on those. We can work with city staff if those aren't appropriate, aren't acceptable to city council. Certainly not names that are set in stone or that we insist on having. So certainly work on that. As to the traffic study, yes, a traffic study was performed. Was reviewed by city staff. A number of comments came out of that traffic study and was updated.
So you did have a traffic study, but Gordon, you haven't seen it?
I'm just not remembering.
Okay.
We
Nora's
received
seen
a
it?
number of comments from staff, from
Okay.
engineering staff, and those were responded to, so we can provide a copy of that. If you don't have one, we can certainly get that for you.
As long as staff is okay with it, that was just one of our major concerns, was the narrowness of that road. Using a true local 56-foot wide right-of-way road is,
If you could just condition that, and I can verify it, make sure.
and then the other thing is I know this was started before, but we've now increased our local road to 59 feet. So I realize that you've got your parcel kind of set out, but that's one of the reasons we've done it, is because it has proven to be too narrow, especially for our fire trucks. So in a commercial area like this, if you're not going to go to the 59-foot minimum for our new local right-of-way, then I would encourage staff to look at red striping it so you can't have on-street parking, at least on one side, so that our public safety facility and people have the ability to get through, especially where this is a hospital. That's kind of important.
So I'll just clarify, it actually
Please.
is not a hospital, medical center, and we feel the same way about parking, certainly concerned about parking. The University of Utah has some very strict minimum parking requirements that are actually fairly high, and so
Good.
we want to pull all that parking into the site. Obviously, they want to provide more than sufficient parking for that are visiting their facility, so
Okay.
about that as well.
And to add comment to that, our interest is not curbside parking. We are planning to take care of all of our parking demand within.
Internally? Okay. Very good. Those are my only two things that I had.
Councilman Porter?
Well, I'll just be quick, because basically Councilwoman Bartsch hit the two things. I don't like branded names either, and Imagine Avenue, I don't know the branding she's referring to, but it sounded goofy to me, you know.
Sounded Disney-ish.
When I talked to my wife, I said it sounded like a Sesame Street knockoff that you would see on Netflix.
Really? That's funny.
Welcome to Imagine Avenue. I don't know. So it just, if you could find some different names, that would be preferable for me. And then again, the concerns with the parking on the street. I know that you want to deal with it all internally, however, human beings don't always follow the best plans, and so, you know, we want to make sure that, and I realize it's not a hospital, but where it is a medical center, you do have sick people there presumably, and sometimes things happen while they're visiting the doctor. Sure. So we want our first responders to be able to get there and help out, not be blocked by on-street parking. So those were all my concerns were covered, but I just wanted to make sure that you know that it's not just Councilwoman Bartsch that has those concerns.
Okay, Councilwoman McComber?
I'll just be the third. You already said you're willing to change the names, but I didn't just catch it until they were bringing it up today. And then, yeah, with parking, obviously, if it becomes a problem, you can always come and red stripe later to the curb. So you obviously have a vested right to have that cross width, but just know that as a city, we have changed it because it has become a huge problem. Even just two-way traffic, even without anybody parking on the road, it just feels uncomfortable. I know you're just a medical center, you're not a hospital, so people aren't coming as fast, but you still have people with emergencies coming in to meet with their general practitioner or something like that. It's not like it's emergency room, but it's still, you know, a kid with a broken arm. Parents sometimes drive maybe a little faster than they should. So keep that in mind. But yeah, I think that that's fine. Thanks.
Councilman Wilden?
If you're evaluating road names, I'd be okay with Wilden Way, just not Wilden Memorial Way. You've already heard from three, so that's where it is.
Put that one down.
And you guys are all
Just don't put Memorial, not Wilden Memorial.
You guys are all white
Way.
fans, right?
I don't want Cougar either, though.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're going with that, but anyway, you've heard from three. I think we condition it that they can just work on staff. And then parking's already been said, so that's it.
Okay, Councilman Podeska?
I have nothing else to add. Yeah.
Okay. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
Just in a snarky way, I think it's discriminatory what you're doing, and I strongly recommend you reconsider, but I'll leave it at that.
Except for the business next door, we limit half the population of Utah to want to have their business on Crimson Way, right?
Yeah.
So I'll move that we approve University of Utah Medical Center preliminary and final plat, Travis Perry, Somas engineer applicant, 337 West Medical Drive.
I'll
I have a first from Councilman McComber. Do I have a second?
I have a second, but I have a question. We're not actually approving the final plat, correct? Staff is
Sure.
approving that. Yeah.
It does have it written as final
It
plat.
has it written there, but it's not in the actual report.
Resolution.
Okay,
The
so
resolution.
Did you want to add the condition to verify with the traffic?
she was nodding her head in the background. I'm feeling fine that she's reviewed it. Well, no, but you were nodding earlier that you had
the traffic
reviewed the
study.
traffic study, so.
And to designate
You
staff
reviewed
to
it
work
already,
on the naming.
Yeah, ordinance engineers, actually.
Okay, so I'm fine not
What about
having it.
designating staff to work with on the street names with?
Oh, I can amend it to have staff work with the naming of the streets, and it's not including final plat.
Yep, second.
Okay. I have an amended first and amended second. Any further discussion on the motion? Roll call, Podeska. Aye. Wilden.
Aye.
McComber.
Aye.
Bartsch.
Aye.
Porter.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. We're excited to have you.
Okay, Patriot Park Lighting Bid Award and Purchase Agreement, Resolution R17-110.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, Council, back asking for more money. Seems like that's the only reason we meet anymore.
Yeah, you're kind of a needy staff member.
Maybe first I'll try to make you happy by saying we're having an amazing progress down at the park. They are just moving like crazy. We've got a very good contractor.
Are those uprights for the pickleball courts, or what are those uprights that I see
So
out there for?
we finished the pour on both pickleball courts yesterday, and they've already set their post in
That's what
for
those
not
are.
only the fences, but the
In between,
nets.
yeah.
So those are done. The walls will be up completed tomorrow on the maintenance shed. The plumbing was all tested yesterday, I'm sorry, in one of the announcer booths. So, we're going to see them going vertical on those here pretty quick. If you go out there and walk around, you can see all the fields are graded. They're all laser graded by GPS instrumentation. So you can actually see. Well, the ground's frozen. It's pretty easy, yeah, as long as you have orange vests on and you know what's going on. No, but you can see all the fields all graded in. They're working on the parking lots. They've gotten the east parking lot pretty much done. They're working on the south one now. Things are going amazingly well. So on that note, I need $1 million. So bring before you a bid. Typically, you will see us ask for your approval and award of a contract based on the lowest bid. Typically, we always say the lowest qualified bid, but a lot of the projects do not have as stringent qualifications. This one is a specific bid based on qualifications only. I mean, this is a performance spec that we set up in this bid. So we brought in lighting professionals. They helped us craft the product we wanted. It was based on, multiple criteria, 4 particularly, but this is a very specific bid. I'm bringing to you a recommendation to award the bid not to the lowest bidder, but to the lowest qualified bidder based on the bid documents. And I would like to ask you to award the bid to Ensign Electric for $95,179. Any questions?
I have a question from the council. Okay.
Real quick question, what was the original budget for the lights approximately?
$1.2 million.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and this is more of a policy thing, if we've approved, and I know we can't fix this now, but if we've approved a budget for something and it comes within a certain variance, if there's any way by policy that we can just delegate that to staff, I think it'd expedite some stuff, because that's just my opinion. We've already approved it through the budget. Now it's just like we really approved the budget.
Can we on this one? That'd be great if we can.
I'm going to be looking at our purchasing policy and maybe relaxing some of those rules, because we're bringing that back in January. That's one of the things, it's one of those nuances. It says any contracts over a certain amount have to be approved by the council, but then
Perfect.
it doesn't
So you'll have
an exception if you've approved it in the budget. So
you'll
I
have that
do
at the
exception.
retreat to discuss. But we all showed up with bright smiling
Absolutely.
faces. It's on the agenda. Do I have a motion?
I'll move that we approve Patriot Park Lighting Bid Award and Purchase Agreement -110 dated today.
$1 million. I'll
I
second.
have a first from Councilwoman Barsh. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second, Councilman Porter. Any further discussion from the council? Porter?
Aye.
Barch?
Aye.
McComber?
Aye.
Wilden?
Aye.
Podeska? Aye. Motion passes unanimously.
That's to be some cool lighting I'm expecting.
It will be.
It's a lot of
You'll like
fields to
it.
light.
Thank you
All
all.
the parking lots and everything.
Yep.
The whole
Okay.
thing.
Thank you, Mark.
Any additional comments?
Okay, city office space.
Council, thank you. As the staff report indicates, we're asking for permission to enter into a lease. We don't have the lease in front of you. It will be ratified through a budget amendment as well. But to get the ball rolling, we wanted to ask if you're okay with us renting space, leasing space, while we are out of space, frankly, in this building. And so, as we look for other creative ways with telecommuting, not telemarketing, wow, telecommuting, et cetera, yeah, to kind of utilize the space more effectively, the other opportunity came to lease some space across the way here in the Evada Business Center. So the cost is $2,550 a month, which equals about $30,000 annually. It's a month-to-month, so whenever we're ready to not use that space, it's a month-to-month lease, and any thoughts or comments we'll take, or
What kind of, I know that they've got the furniture there for us. Do we have any additional setup costs or anything else we're going to do?
there might be some additional setup for kind of workstations, if you will, so where somebody could take their Surface or laptop and be able to plug in. So maybe some monitor up cost. We haven't determined who's moving over there, which staff we are moving over there permanently, or while we're leasing the space. So we don't have that number for you, or that, those other costs that might be associated with that. We're not buying desk or, chairs, things like that. They already have those things over there. It would be more monitors or docking stations for computers. Yep, everything, we'd be able to take with us when we leave. So I apologize, we don't have that, partly because we haven't determined who exactly is moving over there.
No, I was able to talk a little bit with Mark about this today, and it sounds like a great option at a decent price, for the amount of space, so.
Okay.
So we just need so if I get 3 head nods or what, okay, great.
Anybody against the city?
Okay.
Not against it, I'm for it.
Okay, thank you. That's all we needed.
Perfect. Okay, the amended boundary agreement, Mark?
Council, the agreement did not make it through unscathed. There was a couple changes that Lehigh wanted to make. They adopted this last night in a special meeting, and they...
It was an exciting meeting.
What's that?
It was an exciting meeting, too.
It sounds like it.
I went to all their meetings.
So, Mayor was at that meeting, but they've given us some language changes, which it's acceptable from our perspective, but what we would ask is that you approve the agreement tonight and give us a little bit of discretion to work with them on wordsmithing it just a little bit. We don't want it to be overly restrictive. We think that as long as it doesn't substantively change the agreement, we should be able to kind of tweak the language. The problem is we sent them the agreement, gave them a short amount of time to review it. They tabled it. They gave us the language, but it was basically already in the works as they were approving it. And so just if you could give us a little bit of flexibility, we do appreciate the good faith effort on their part to get something adopted and back to us. And as long as both parties can agree to some small tweaks to the language that was proposed, we'd be thrilled.
Is their council also willing to small tweaks?
I believe that they've given their staff the ability for non-substantive language authority. So if you could just give us that would be great. Won't substantively change anything, but just wordsmithing.
Two paragraphs, maybe?
Yep.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the amended boundary agreement with the city of Lehigh, delegating to staff any non-substantial, it sounded like the wrong word, non-substantial changes to the language. Does that work for you guys?
Okay, I have a first from Councilman Porter. Second. Second from Councilman Podeska. We'll roll call. Podeska. Aye. Wilden.
Aye.
McComber. Barch.
Aye.
Porter.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. We have the reappointment of Planning Commissioner Kirk Wilkins, Resolution R17-111, dated today. Kirk Wilkins has been currently serving as the Planning Commission Chair and has done a great job. So if the council's willing, he is willing to do another 4 years to continue with the projects we've got. He understands a lot of the big projects we've got going. I would recommend him for appointment.
reappoint Kirk Wilkins to the Planning Commission, Resolution R17-11, dated today.
I have a first from Councilwoman Barch.
I'll second.
I have a second from Councilman Wilden. Any further discussion on the motion?
Just a clarification, R17-111, correct? Okay. Yes. You said 11. So yeah.
Okay.
Place value's hard.
Roll call. Porter.
Aye.
Barch.
Aye.
McComber.
Aye.
Wilden.
Aye.
Podeska. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. We have reason for closed session, Mark?
Yes, if I could just get a few minutes.
Okay, I will, all in favor of closed session? But I guess I need a motion for it.
I'll move that we move into closed session for the reasons outlined on the.
First from Councilman Wilden. Second. Second from Councilman Podeska. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Oh, yeah,